Welcome to the autumnal convocation of the Quilluminati. And today we are discussing Conan the Conqueror by Crom.
By Crom.
All right.
Everyone else had a sword. I figured I'd go with the staff. So
The staff works. The staff works.
Staff does work.
Especially the snaky staff.
That
Yeah.
means it's extra venomous. I love
this
it.
is what happens when you go to stupid Texas Renaissance festivals, and you're like, I could use that staff, and then it just sits in a corner for 4 years. And it's like, but I needed that. I needed that
Now
while I was
you needed it tonight.
Yeah. First order of
Cheers
business,
to that.
gentlemen. First order of business. Welcome everyone in the chat, of course. First order of business is, I believe that it would be appropriate for us to hail our brother John on the occasion, on the great occasion of his birth. This is a big birthday. This is a decade birthday.
Yes.
It's a new decade. I'm not going to say which one, but this is
You
a
can
new
say
decade.
I'm officially old, way old, very old.
Anyway, happy birthday, brother John.
Happy
Thank you.
birthday, brother John.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I mean, you look great for
Appreciate you.
70, John. You really do.
Yeah, I that's why I claim 70. I look great for 70.
It's filters. It's all filters. I'm
Yeah,
telling you
it
guys.
It's all filters.
That's right. That's right. That's how we do it. So we are actually here to talk about Conan the Conqueror. Also, the other title you may know this under is The Hour of the Dragon. That's that John has that title on his cover. This was, I don't know when it was originally published, 1930.
Posthumously, it's it was after he passed away. So
Yeah.
it's the only actual full-length novel that he wrote about Conan. It was
That's
a
right.
short story. Yeah.
The only full-length novel, Conan novel by Robert E. Howard. And there's we're going to start this spoiler-free, everybody. So even if you have not read this and you just want to hang out with us, you are welcome. You're even welcome during the spoilers. Honestly, I don't feel like it's a big deal to get spoiled.
Conan kills things, man.
Yeah.
There. Spoiled it for you. Sorry.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, I would say actually of all the books that we've read, this is by far the one that spoilers wouldn't affect
No.
anything.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Agreed. So yeah, we're gonna do non-spoiler for. I'm gonna ask these gentlemen their non-spoiler assessment of this book first. Then we are going to reveal the next read for the Quilluminati. So you want to hang out for that to find out what we're doing for the next season, which we're going to meet in probably December, provided none of us have had any brutal accidents with our weaponry in the meantime.
I just the snake scepter back scratcher is the greatest thing I've ever
I feel
seen.
like I'm finally getting some use out of it. So thank you for this.
This is fantastic.
And then we are diving straight into the spoilers for Conan the Conqueror, or the Dragon, if you like.
It says Hour of the Dragon in my collection as well. So
Okay.
all you
Yeah.
posers going with those cheap little paperbacks that
Yeah.
are really
Philip.
vintage and awesome looking, and they got awesome art on them, and mine has
Yeah,
no
they
art
do.
on it. I mean,
That
the
is a
Conan
great-
art as
Yeah.
a whole is incredible, right? It really is.
Have the
And that,
iconic art there.
that nice leather-bound edition has no art in it. It's like, what the hell, man? I don't know
That's-
if I did better.
Yeah, you would think Conan. I mean, there's a lot of Conan art they could have drawn from there.
Mhm.
All right. Anyway, we are going to start with our non-spoiler assessment, and I'm going to have Mike. What's your non-spoiler thoughts on Conan, and particularly this book? But
Well, with the as I keep calling it, the House of the Dragon. No, Hour of the Dragon is kind of feels like some recycled stories that he has. Some of his short stories have very, very similar plot lines. This just kind of adds some things to it, makes it obviously a full-length novel, but there's some things that he had done a little bit before, and this feels like reaching its final form, sadly, posthumously, but it is still one of those, hey, Conan gets the girl, Conan punches things hard in the face, and Conan be king. I love it. Give me more of it. That's all I need, really. Conan with a beautiful woman and Conan conquering his enemies. That's all I need in a story.
And Mike, what is best in life? Mitch wants to know.
Well, no, I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and hand this one off to the newbie here, Brian, and see if he was paying attention.
All right.
Yeah.
What is best in life, Brian?
Oh my God.
I mean, Brian, did actually note that
I literally
this was
have
your first time.
a page of notes and I don't even have an answer. What is best in life?
Come on.
God, how do I not?
Hanging out with your Quilluminati brothers.
That's number one.
Well, that's what I would have answered, but I thought it was maybe an inside Conan
It kind of is.
reference.
Crush your enemies.
Yeah.
Crush your enemies.
Crush your enemies.
Either driven before you, maybe.
Lamentations.
Maybe something about lamentations of the women.
Oh, the hit of Lamentations.
I'm sorry,
of
Brian.
the
I'm just
women.
setting you up. I thought that you were a big pop culture guy. You would have got that.
Yeah.
But, you know,
That
my
one.
respects only went down just like a little bit of you for now. That's all.
But Brian did note that Conan finished the book. The last line in the book was "Get to the chopper."
Get to the chopper.
Yeah.
Were you interested? Actually, were you surprised? Had you seen the Conan films with Arnold before, Brian? And
yes.
Were you
I grew up on
surprised by what you read? Were there any things that you didn't expect in encountering the actual story for the first time?
Not particularly. I mean, I suppose we'll probably get into this as we talk, but at face value, it's sort of a two-dimensional kind of barbarian, right? Where I think maybe of all the books, and this is the only one that I've read, so I'll have to ask you guys, but if there's any depth of Conan, it seems like maybe it's coming in this book rather than more of the adventure of Conan that happened earlier, because now he's had time to reflect on all these different personas that he's had a little bit. But yeah, it seemed kind of, he didn't have Arnold's accent, but he did in my head. So there was that.
It's like when I read Batman comics now, I'm like, I'm not hearing Mark Hamill voice the Joker.
Right.
I mean, it's impossible not to.
Zoltatun, get back. I've got the heart of Amaran.
You say Zoltatun a different way than it is. I say Zoltoten, but okay.
Yeah.
I guess it all works.
I mean, the way Arnold says it has got to be right?
Get back to the tent.
Oh dear. Okay, John, what about you? What are some non-spoiler thoughts from you about Conan?
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed it. It was pulpy. It was fun. I had read some Robert E. Howard. I got really I was into Lovecraft, and I wanted to read some other folks there in high school, and I started reading Robert E. Howard, but I didn't want to do Conan because everyone knew Conan, and I was like that in high school. So I read a lot of Solomon Kane, and really liked that.
I haven't done that yet. I feel bad.
It's good stuff, dude.
I love Robert E. Howard. I don't know why I haven't. I got that and Call.
So this was my first Conan story, and it was kind of, I gotta go with Mike. It had that feeling of like the the Ronco greatest hits albums of the 70s and 80s. We got Conan as a king. We got Conan the Fallen. We got Conan the Barbarian. We got Conan the Pirate. We got Conan the Back on the Rise. It was like the greatest hits all the way through.
You know what happens in almost every Conan story? He gets thrown in prison and he has to fight his way out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, you think at one point you guys would stop locking him up. Just kill him.
It's like James Bond, right? Don't tell him the plan. But I had a great time. It was a lot of fun. It was kind of a return back to the pulpy fun I was reading a long time ago. And I mean, I can't say I was surprised. It was really a lot of what I expected, but it delivered what I was expecting.
Okay.
Yeah.
What Joseph says in the comments, that's it right there.
Which one?
Yeah.
Men are strong, women are beautiful, problems are simple, and life is adventurous. That defines the Hyborian age.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, for me, this book came at the absolute perfect time. I had just spent 3 weeks reading Reaper's Gale, and
well, this must have been like water.
Yeah. Oh my God. It was like going through the desert, and there's this big water that says Conan, and I flew through the book just because my pace was molasses pace, just in terms of how quickly I was reading. So this thing was just done in a couple of sittings. But yeah, absolutely perfect time for this kind of book for me. So I think it even heightened my enjoyment a little bit more because it doesn't require you to think all that much. You're just here for an adventure story.
Yeah, like, where do you start with it? I'm like, you can literally start on any story. It does not matter.
It's a pure Snicker bar read, pure fun. I felt.
I also felt like for something written in the 1920s, this is incredibly accessible. That this has aged well, actually, compared to a lot of other fantasy that was being written in the earliest decades of the 20th century. Looking at you, Worm Ouroboros.
Don't be messing with my Worm Ouroboros.
I don't even know that's a real word, but cool.
Yeah.
If I ever get to pick a book for Mike to read that will make him equal as miserable as Book of the New Sun, it might be the Worm Ouroboros.
Great. I can't wait for Worm Toro, whatever, Boro, whatever.
You get to pick the next Quilluminati read.
Oh,
Brian.
I would not.
Oh, you can call it audible at the last second.
You can throw a curve.
You think I want to wind up with the worst book on here? I got a good record going so far. I'm not.
I'm hoping someone takes my title.
Nobody's touching your title, John. But I thought the prose was actually really accessible, very crisp, and I had one of my viewers, Micah. Shout out to Micah. He's a writer and very knowledgeable about Conan and older fantasy, and he left me a really good comment about how Howard, though he does write within the fantasy genre, is kind of a modernist in terms of his prose, and that has probably a big factor in terms of how it's aged really well, and I had to agree with that. And as far as the other. I was expecting this sort of thing. No argument here. This is kind of what we got. It delivered. It was very pulpy and all that. But I also was surprised at certain stages too about how, I would never call this a feminist text or anything like that. But it was interesting to see how dependent Conan was on a lot of the female characters throughout the course of the story. Like he would have been toast without some of the women who came along and helped him. Literally, he would have been dead, a couple times. And that in the context of, I'm not going to over psychoanalyze the dude or anything, but Robert E. Howard was very close to his mother, so close that when she was dying, he actually, as the famous story is, of course, that he took his own life, a few minutes before she passed away. So obviously she was extremely important to him. And I think it kind of shows. It was interesting for me while reading Conan the Conqueror. And another thing I thought was pretty cool and a bit deeper was this is something that Raph pointed out on another comment. So Raph Blue Taxed.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned how, and this is a theme that I love because it also occurs in Beowulf. I had to say Beowulf. Sorry, guys.
I mentioned Beowulf.
Who had 12 minutes, 52 seconds.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the Powerball tickets. If you had,
knew I was going to say Beowulf.
If you had 12 minutes, comment below. You're entitled.
Conan is obviously you could argue. I'm sure that Robert E. Howard was familiar with Beowulf. I am sure of that. And the theme that is really obvious that Raph pointed out, and I think he's absolutely right, is this is Conan when he's a bit older. He's a king. Yeah. He's no longer a young warrior. And that presents some conflict, within this character who he still wants to be the dude. He still wants to be the warrior, but he's got some responsibilities now as a king. So there is a bit of a nice, I think, theme going there where Conan, he wants to just jump in and hack away, but he's got a kingdom. He's responsible for a bunch of people. So what do we got here? Oh, we do have some Ouroboros love. All right, good for you, Mitch.
It's coming, Mike.
You guys are just punking me. This isn't a real thing. I think that this is very much a Conan wanted to see if he still got that dog in him.
Yeah,
story. I love a story like that. The guy who used to be a badass warrior has kind of gotten a little complacent. Hey, I've conquered all my enemies, but you know what? All right, I get to go fight somebody.
Yeah.
So I dig that about Conan. Obviously, him and H.P. Lovecraft were actually pen pals. Mm-hmm. So I think you can see a lot of the similarities in the writings, and that they can say more in about 15 pages than authors were saying in 500 pages. It's really, really incredible. I know people think that's just like a line I will say about it, but I was like, a lot of the fantasy that we read, guys, and you're like, nothing really happened in the last 300 pages. And I'm like, yeah, I think you could have read like the entire Conan Chronicles by now, probably, and had a whole lot more story. So yeah, the way that he wrote wasn't just accessible. He had a lot of meat on a very, very small bone, which was amazing. Is what he put in so few words.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
You got a
I'm
question
going to make
here?
a comparison later that no one I don't think has ever or would ever make because it's that stupid.
Oh,
But-
you talking about Costco Carsa Orlong, or as I like to call him, Costco Conan? Yeah.
No. About the book itself. But
Hey,
let's
Mark's
see.
in the comments.
I was going to say shout out to Slowly Read because
Yeah, long time no see, stranger.
he's the very first booktuber I ever saw on YouTube because I was looking on YouTube. Why hasn't anybody talked about Sandman Slim on BookTube or YouTube? I didn't even know BookTube was a thing, but on YouTube, I run into Slowly Read. I'm like, holy shit, someone else has read this besides me. Cool. So, hey.
I'm happy to have exceeded your expectations, Andrew. As far as the Beowulf,
He was bursting at the seams, Andrew.
I will say, turning just a little bit older, I love that part of the book. I loved it's like a little slower, keeps kind of, he keeps falling down.
Yeah.
Like several times he falls down.
Yeah.
But he's still got some dog in him, like Mike said. I really dug that part of it.
Yeah, he was
So how old was he? Like 32?
42.
It was 42. Okay.
42.
It's 42 actually.
It's
yeah.
42. Okay.
Yeah.
See, some of us read the book, Brian. God.
Look, you know what?
Hey, you made that comparison. It was kind of like from me going from Sun Eater to Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's probably what it was like going from Malazan to Conan.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was like, oh, God.
I don't have to overthink it anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no words that are more than 3 syllables. This is great.
There were some good passages. I actually want to defend, not defend because no one's attacking it here really, but I thought the prose was not just accessible. It was actually, there were a few places where it was even kind of, I reread those sentences like, yeah, that's really nice. I like that.
Yeah. The one thing I will say about prose is that Brian brings up 3-syllable words. There was a 5-syllable word that actually I think might have been overused when we get into it, when we get into spoilers.
Interesting.
And it's not somebody's name.
Like they said, he said like 4,000 times in the book or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, we'll get to it.
All right.
Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. Did Howard master some masculine subconscious more than Burroughs, London?
I would say Tarzan's pretty comparable.
Yeah.
With ERB. And I say that as someone who's read precisely one Tarzan short story. I have the whole collection, and I read one Tarzan short story. But when I was reading, I was like, this is like Conan in the Jungle. I love it. Yeah.
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 John Carter Mars, same kind of.
Not that you would know this, Britain, yet, but yeah, you get creakier as you get older.
Oh my God. You fall. You just fall.
Yeah. Yeah. And we have some more praise for it is pulpy. Yes, it absolutely is pulpy. But it needs...
I mean, compared to other stuff that you're going to go get back then at a 5 and dime store of a paperback novel, he's certainly ahead of the game when it came to just the English language and how to write.
Samwise, I'd say John Carter and Tarzan probably for sure. So ERB was very, very influential to Robert E. Howard.
That checks out. Yeah. All right. Any other non-spoiler thoughts? We've gone almost 20 minutes here, but we can entertain some more non-spoiler thoughts.
I was just say I'm glad that Brian didn't come on here and tell me about how terrible he thought it was, because I don't know if my heart could have took that. Honestly.
Oh.
No, I actually really.
I said he's the wild card in these things.
Yeah,
go either way on these. So.
Yeah, I really.
Maybe Malazan had him in such a sour mood that he going to be like, I don't like reading anymore.
Costco Carsa, you cracked me up.
Well, that is another thing to note in the non-spoiler section.
Erickson said it is based off Conan.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. And in general, the influence of this character is pretty outsized.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got Steven Erickson's Carsa. You wouldn't have probably even characters like Logan Ninefingers.
Absolutely.
Without Conan,
Even the Hulk.
Yeah. Probably not. Yeah. I mean, he has influenced so many writers. He is the prototype, really, of the barbarian warrior,
Yeah.
And not just, obviously, the Robert E. Howard stories. Others wrote Conan stories, too, but the movies and everything else, which probably are... I was comparing it to Frankenstein, where you have the this popular conception of what Frankenstein is.
Right.
And then you have the actual book, which is really different from what
people start reading Conan. I'm surprised he isn't just like a meathead. He's actually like very intelligent. I'm like, it's something you kind of miss if you've only seen the Arnold movie,
Yeah, exactly.
That is one thing that did surprise me, is that I was expecting a total meathead from.
he can't be. Conan punch hard,
right. Right. But he definitely established himself as a ruler of the kingdom that people were loyal to, more so than what we got in the Conan movies. So for that, absolutely. It's cool.
Yeah, Zenobia was in love with him and never even spoke to him before. So
she just saw him from a distance.
I'm sorry. We're not in spoilers yet, are we?
Yeah, but it happens all the time.
So. I don't think that's a spoiler. Every woman was,
Queen of the Black Coast is very good. That's a damn good book. Yeah, good story. You call them books when they're like 15 pages, 20 pages, but damn good short story. All right, so we're doing the announcement before we're doing spoilers.
We're doing
yeah.
All right. Brian is doing.
All right, Brian, are you gonna set us up for The Vanished Birds Part 2?
I am not.
Ouroboros.
God, I swear to God, if I was in a different mood right now, I would unleash the worm Ouroboros on the three of you guys, because Philip DNF'd it, right? So if it's something that Philip, and it was written not that much before Conan's, is within probably 10 years of it. Yeah. So, but way different. All right. So here's an author, much like my last pick, that I've never read anything from before. And I asked the fellas, I said, have you guys read any of this guy before? Nobody had either. Couple have seen some TV adaptations, but nobody's read the actual book. And for the Quilluminati, kind of one of the side little missions is let's pick some genres that aren't on our normal TBRs, that really aren't for our typical booktube audiences. This is an author I have seen in every bookstore my whole life. I've probably seen him in the airport bookstores as much as anything else. He's a big favorite of one of our friends on the channel, or of all of our channels, Josh over at Red Fury Books. I'm talking about the author Michael Connelly, and the book we're going to read for my selection is The Last Coyote by Michael Connelly. This is Bosch, who is a detective. Now, if you're unsure of who Bosch is, this may or may not be accurate. I don't know. I had this around the house. I think it might be him.
No, definitely not.
I can't confirm or deny that this is Bosch, but if it is, I think we're in for a treat. If it's not, something might actually get solved. So that's cool. This is the next book coming up. In December, we will be reading this book and discussing. Is that when we're reading it? Yeah, we're going to. Yeah, December. We'll be talking about this probably around about the same time of the month as we are right now in September. And I did say time of the month. And I will say, when I selected Mystic River, I didn't think it was going to be as big of a hit with the fellas here as it turned out to be.
That was a big hit.
I am optimistic. It was very
be my book of the year.
It's very depressing, but for this one in particular, this is the fourth book in the fifth.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter reading them out of order.
I reached out to Josh and I said, if you had never read any of these books before, where would you start? And he said, absolutely, The Last Coyote.
All right,
without any hesitation.
Because I talked about my book haul, I said I bought like the first 5 on Kindle, and a lot of people were telling me, "Oh, Last Coyote is where it gets really good, though." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's good to know."
We're starting.
I've only watched the TV show. I enjoy the show a lot, and
me too.
If the case doesn't get solved, well, then Harry's just going to shoot somebody. So I'm okay with that.
That's a good way to solve it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to have you guys along for this because I don't know if I'm going to like it either. The trick is that I was at the bookstore over the weekend. And I saw that there's 1 million of these in the series. So I was like, well, I really do want to love this book. But what happens if I really, really love it? And now I got to go add 25 new books to the TBR.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy. I haven't done a ton of crime novels. I know that Stephen King's a humongous Harry Bosch, Michael Connelly fan, and to the point to where now that's all he wants to write is Michael Connelly books, basically. And so I'm mad at him for doing that to Stephen King. But, hey.
Truth.
Maybe that means I'll actually end up really liking it.
Well, again, and I kind of looked at it this way, that most of us are going to be reading fantasy and science fiction. and horror, as you know, as some of you guys do, not all of us, but
Philip.
a couple of you
Philip.
guys do during
King of horror.
spooky season, that I thought this is going to be a totally different type of reading experience, and it's not super long, and it'll just, you know, we don't have to think about wizards and dragons and spaceships for a minute, and come back to Earth and see if we like a good story here.
That's what I like about horror books. Sometimes it's like, hey, I like when there's 3 characters and I already know
Yes.
Earth, so I don't have to learn all the
Yeah.
locations and stuff and monarchies. It's just great. Yeah. So hopefully it's a lot like that. Plus, I got, you know, faces to go with the name from the TV show,
Cool. I
which
think
is
it's
a great show, by the way. Titus Welliver is amazing as that.
Yeah, it is a great show.
I intend to watch it after I read the book for sure. Maybe that'll
So
get
the
me out
show
of it.
it combines 2 books for every season of the show, and they're not actually in chronological order. Like they'll just take 2 random books and kind of fit them both into the.
I have no
Into a
idea
season.
if you've seen this or not. I
don't
guess-
even know what this
Guess
is.
we'll find out.
All right, great.
Yeah, cool.
All right, well, there you have it. There is our next Quilluminati read. So get it.
The
ahead of
last
time.
coyote, join us.
The last coyote join us in December.
You say
Be ready.
coyote, or you say coyote? Or
Up here it's
Quixote?
coyote. Up here it's coyote.
Here. I've heard people saying Quixote, and I'm like, are you being like clever, or have I been saying it
Yeah.
wrong my whole life?
No, I think it's
I think that's
Yeah.
Don Quixote.
yes.
Quixote.
Or Dong Coyote in Dungeon
Whoa,
Crawler.
that's a
Portal.
totally
I wanna
different
hear about
character.
that part of your life.
Whoa,
Oh.
This
That's
is
a totally
the-
different character.
This is a family show now. All right.
it's in WCC. So.
Anyway.
to tell some spoilers.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
We're
with
doing the
the
spoilers
staff.
now. If you don't want to hear the spoilers, you know, this is the spoiler gong now. All right. We're doing spoilers.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, I love the gong, the singing bowls.
You guys old enough to remember the Gong Show? Oh, you guys old enough? You're old enough.
Yes,
You guys remember the Gong Show?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Crazy. I was talking about that the other day. Telling my kids they're gonna, you know, because I'm watching Survivor, talking about vote them off the island. I said, or they're gonna ring the gong, and I had to explain that one to them. They're gonna bang the gong.
Yeah.
Then they're
Bring
like,
out-
"What's the gong?" I'm like, "Get the hell out of here!"
Bring
Thank
out
God.
Gene, the dancing machine. It's time for
It's basically, what is that thing now? Like America's Got Talent? It's the same thing. It's just
Same
with a
thing.
gong.
They hit the X button. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, if I had a gong here while I'm filming my normal videos and someone lived here, you could rest assured I'd be gonged in 5 minutes. That's it. My videos would go 2 minutes.
All right, we lost Britain. I thought you read all the Conan stories, Britain. All right, well, we'll see you later. All right, so spoilers, guys.
Cool.
What are the moments we want to talk about here in Conan? What were some things that stuck
Mike.
out to you?
you're
And-
muted or something.
Yeah. What do you want to talk about in terms of, obviously Conan loses his kingdom because he is outfoxed by magic, essentially, by these dudes who are messing around. They're in over their heads. They don't even know it yet, but they're resurrecting the ancient dude and bring him back. And ancient dude, right?
He
Yeah.
was mummified, so yeah, he's an
Yeah,
ancient
Kind of like
dude.
a prerequisite for sword and sorcery is you got to bring the wizard back. So you got to get the sorcerer in there some way,
Yep.
somehow. And it's usually some kind of resurrection.
Yep. And I was surprised how helpless Conan was as he's
Same.
basically incapacitated. And this other big dude basically puts on his armor and says, "Okay, I'll pretend to be you," and rides out, and then gets promptly smushed by the magic. And it's like Conan's always escaping by some just happy coincidence or something. It's not always just brute force or brawn.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're cleverness. Sometimes it's just damn lucky.
So
I think
there are a couple times he saved himself by tripping and falling.
Yeah.
Or how about the stupid blind luck? I got one shot to kill this ape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yeah. I actually really like that setup though, Dr. Chase, because he was able to, like we were talking about, okay, he's got a kingdom and he's, not a spring chicken anymore. He was able to like jettison all that by losing his kingdom and like very much his identity. Like everyone thought he was dead because of the big, the other big dude in his armor was crushed by the rocks. So he really had like a blank slate to go back and recapture some of his mojo from his younger days and call on some friends that quite a few were women, like you were pointing out, that really came through for him. So I thought that was a great setup to kind of really take the Etch-a-Sketch and shake it and like, let's level this playing field and see what an older, wiser, but maybe just a step slower Conan would be like out there.
Now, Philip, Mr. History over here. Now, is this something that's like in every single culture's lore? Like I think about Bjorn Ironside in Vikings, that he's dying, or they put someone in his armor so they think that he's out in the field and it scares the other army off. So it feels like every culture, everything has this kind of story somewhere in it, right?
Yeah, you could almost call it like an archetype at this point.
Yeah,
that's a
is it a trope?
Yeah, it's a trope.
Yeah.
So if I put on a talking story shirt, I might get new subscribers.
No,
it'll work.
Damn.
But you'd probably need to have Jacob on your channel simultaneously.
Yeah, that's the magic.
Yeah, that could be. But that's an interesting thing. I think I've read that before too. I couldn't place it exactly, but yeah. See, I think one of the things that surprised me is that, and maybe it's from playing D&D my whole life, is that I've always kind of thought of barbarians and wizards almost on equal footing, but they just use different techniques, different skills. One use magic, one is just ultra powerful. But in this book, it isn't even close. I mean,
no.
We are not talking, a level 1 fighter against a level 1 wizard. This is just entirely handicapped, that literally he's with a touch, he's rendered helpless. And then that's it. And we realize so quickly that no matter how much of a barbarian king and deft he is with weaponry and combat, he's not even in the same league, the playing field, as the antagonist here. And I didn't really expect that. I liked it, but I didn't know that was going to be the case.
People accuse him of Conan being too overpowered. So that was like his response to that, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, as I say, I have these visions of like, a movie where the wizard's, throwing a fireball and Conan will hold the sword up and block it with the sword.
Home run.
Yeah. And they sort of have this kind of back and forth, but in this, not at all. I mean, the only back and forth they get is when he finally gets this artifact. But other than that, he's just on the run, and which is magic versus magic.
But Putin has to go James Bond villain and be like, "Hey, I've got you beat, but I want you to serve me instead."
Yeah.
Like, no chance. Oh, okay, we'll throw him in the prison. And it's like, come on, man, you had him.
Yeah.
So Conan is pretty much outmatched in terms of the magic, but the equalizer is, of course, this gemstone. That is
right. Conan had to revert to magic himself. Like a big chunk of the book was him
tracking it down,
questing after this artifact. Yeah, because he had to resort to magic to beat magic.
Right.
Dude, that thing was like Cannonball Run. It seemed like every time someone had it, they would die, and some other person would run the opposite direction with it. And Cannonball Run tonight, guys. I'm old.
And this is also
did Dom DeLuise ever have the heart of Aramon? That's what we need to know.
This is also true, of course. We don't meet Akivasha until quite a bit into the book, though, near the end, actually. But a very memorable character. One of the few female characters who's actually not so helpful to Conan. Yeah. But it was interesting earlier to give a little flesh to. I probably shouldn't have said give flesh to, but anyway.
Or don't you say that all the female characters they either want to F them or they want to F them and kill them?
Yeah. I mean, it could be one or the other or both. Actually, or both. You pick.
Doesn't matter situation, age, doesn't matter.
But the first one who rescues him from the dungeon and just kind of now that was a little. I mean, if we're going to be critical at all, this was a kind of come on moment. When she's like, "Hey, I saw you from a distance like 20 years ago, and I fell in love with you."
He's the king, man.
Ever since then,
he's a big buff dude.
I've been pining for you, and when I
saw
is
sexy. Come on,
I happened to be looking out the window when you were imprisoned, and and so I risked my life to come down here and rescue you. And I don't care what you do with me now. I just love you so much.
I'm hearing some real player hating coming from you, Philip. Yeah. And I feel like that's below you, really.
She saw him years ago. And I've dreamed of lamenting for you all them years.
What, am I thinking of the right way? Wasn't she like part of the harem as well? But she was an ignored member of the harem, and that was part of her rationale for doing what she did, because she wasn't seen or heard, and I'm going to go for Conan now. Got it.
Yep. But I did like that at the end. He doesn't forget her. You know, he's like,
"Oh, he's gonna marry her." Yeah.
Do you have that one lady in your harem by the name of, I can't remember her name. What was it?
Zenobia.
Yeah, Zenobia. And he's like, yeah, and that's what he wants. You know, that's his
the ransom.
The
I
ransom.
want to say where they
That's
continue
payment.
the story in Marvel Comics, the Savage Sword of Conan. They actually do get married, but you know, can you really call it canon if it's not? I mean, I know that they call the Tor canon or something like that now is what they call what Robert E. Howard did, not Robert E. Howard, Robert Jordan did, and things like that. They're calling it canon, but I don't know if the Marvel stuff counts as canon now. To me, if it's not Robert E. Howard, it's not canon. But you know,
I would agree with that. Yeah.
I don't know. Marvel Comics. I got to go with it.
So you think she had the full on like bikini armor, like you see France Rosetta would draw on the cover and stuff? I mean, she had to, right? Or she was naked.
I think she was. I believe it was just she had a little loincloth on.
Yeah, it's a see-through.
I think she was fully covered, but it was entirely diaphanous.
Diaphanous? Is that your word? Is that your word?
No,
Diaphanous?
Here's my word. Okay, if he had a little, I understand. But if he had a little bit of a more modern editor, I would not have read somebody ejaculated something about 27 times through this.
That is true. Wait a minute. Yeah, that was your 5-syllable word.
That's 5 syllables.
You know, sometimes with stuff like that, I just assume it was a different age. It meant something. Like,
it meant something.
Happy. It doesn't mean what you think it means, you know, modern eyes when you read some of these things. So
ejaculate is to say something. Right?
What if it actually meant what it means now? What if that's what he was going for the whole time? Yeah.
Because then this would be sword and sorcery, it'd be sword and romantasy.
Right. Right. Oh my God.
That
it really is the hour of the dragon.
The word fuse. I saw that about 27, 28 times.
Wait, fuse?
Thews. Thews.
Oh, thews, as in like muscles. And,
yes. Yeah.
Well,
those two words.
Muscles. I mean, gosh, John. You're player hating.
I'm just saying, you know, maybe, you know, I don't know, an Oxford book with synonyms, something. I know we don't have the internet, but I don't call me crazy.
Dude, I don't know how to say your name, but I definitely will read stuff like that, and I'll just be giggling the whole time. It's like, dude, you will forever be 12, Mike. I swear to God, you're gonna laugh every time.
Every time.
Generational thing for sure.
Like when someone says "do," they do that, and I'm like, I said "do." You know?
Right. So our next book is a Beavis and Butthead companion.
That's like our level.
Yeah. Absolutely. I had a weird thought about this book when I was reading it, and I don't think anybody here is going to agree with me.
Was it because of the ejaculating?
Yes, I was doing that, you know, simultaneously.
No one else noted that. No one else.
Our minds are not in the gutter, you know?
Right. There was
perverts, John.
The way that the structure of this book, and I'm glad Sam is in the comments, because he'll either think that this is the dumbest thing ever, or Philip may as well, but there were elements about how the story was written that reminded me of Book of the New Sun, because every chapter was like its own little story, and then the next chapter was its own little story, and then the next chapter was its own story, and they were they're separate. It's a running thing, but the action from one event doesn't really bleed over into the next chapter very much. It's kind of like a beginning, a middle, and an end of that chapter. We go to the next one, and it's a whole new thing with new characters.
Was it just not originally serialized?
Yeah, it's because it was in magazines, and they, once a month, and then they just compiled it all together. So
so it was done like that.
You're right. In other words, you're right.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was just thinking to myself. The only other thing actually two things. the War Ouroboros and Book of the New Sun. It reminded me.
This is like when people tell me, "Oh, it's like First Law," because they know that I'll read it. That's what y'all are doing to me right now with this shit. That's what y'all are doing. Oh, Michael read Book of the New Sun
when it was
like
serialized.
Oh, no, Mike, never, never. I will literally come down to Texas, rip that book out of your hands, and save.
I got a really nice Folio Society edition.
I'll steal it from you. I mean,
when it was serialized, though, and it was a month between these chunks, no one realized I just read Ejaculated 4 times, and now here's the next chunk. There was a bit of a break, so I guess maybe was.
They were a little more mature in the 1930s, John. That's what I
got it.
Well, I got a problem.
If Sam and Philip agree with me about the kind of the serialization of those chapters, I feel
that is not a comparison I thought I'd hear tonight.
I try to bring the weirdness where I can, but it really felt like, and I understood this book far better, but yeah.
Yep. No, but your instinct to it was, I believe, serialized in whatever weird tales or whatever, and that's why you felt like, I mean, he has to hook people, give them something of an ending, and then next week the next thing, So yeah, that does affect. I mean, a lot of writers back in the day, Charles Dickens, same thing,
Oh yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
A lot of 80s TV did that too, where there was these cliffhangers, like we've solved the main thing, but then the last 30 seconds, something strange happens that moves them in a totally different direction. So it's not the same story.
Same bat channel.
Exactly.
Wasn't Count of Monte Cristo was serialized as well when it first came out, wasn't it?
I tell you, but that's why. But was it in a magazine for like 8 years? Because that's
did they have magazines?
Yeah, good point.
Oh yeah,
I think they called them pamphlets back then, right? Leaflets.
Got it. Yeah, they were on the back of the indulgences. I understand.
Propaganda posters.
Got it.
So you mentioned that Conan was dependent on magic and magic users. So he meets a few people. Another woman who helps him along the way is the woman with the wolf and the bird, the eagle, the hawk, whatever.
Yeah,
the old witch lady who saves Conan again. I mean, basically, he totally needs her. And then, of course, there's the priests of the minority religion that end up being extremely vital to everything. It's really only through that head priest using that gem at the end that they're able to defeat the big baddie, right? I mean, so total dependence on magic the whole way through, really.
Yeah, he did have to kind of get a team together. Like he had to go out and get a bit of a team together.
Yep.
At least a team. Well, they converged at the end, which was cool. Yeah. But at least part way, like the serialization that you're talking about, this person was on the team for this part, and then they're gone. But I didn't anticipate the conversion later, the convergence later. That was a surprise to me.
Cool.
Whatever Mac just said just hurt my brain. Jeez.
Mac hurts my brain on the regular
all the time.
That's why I'm just like, it's like Conan killing shit and being, tactical and cunning. I don't know.
The Asura cult. That's what it was. The Asura cult.
I don't know if you have this in your editions, but in mine, they have a map of the whole place, but they overlay it on a map of like mostly Europe, but you can see Northern Africa in there. And it's basically showing how this world is an analog to our world in many ways. And Howard was drawing from real world stuff. Like up in the north, there's obviously like Asgard. Okay. That's obviously very like Viking, or Vanaheim, those are the places up north. And then you have places down here, which obviously feel more like Northern Africa, like Shem or Keshan or whatever, Kush. Right. And then you even have a place over here called Iranistan, which is pretty close to where Iran would be.
Yeah.
Right? Got a little less creative there, Robbie.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Well, you're gonna like the Devils when you look at that map. That's all I'll say with that. Yeah.
So it's like almost alternative history in a way, isn't it?
Well, it could be upside down Alaska, like in Robin Hobb.
We could have that too.
Upside down Alaska.
Is that what Robin? I hadn't noticed that.
Well, the Elflings look at it and you could flat out just like it's a 1-to-1. You just flip it upside down. You're like, oh my gosh, how about that?
So what Sam is saying here is, I think that's pretty true. Like, when you look at Middle Earth as well,
right? And to think that this came before Middle Earth is quite impressive, actually.
Published before, anyway. Yeah, I mean, Tolkien was developing Middle Earth before Howard was writing, but in terms of publication, this was first. Yeah.
But if you read them and you had no idea, you would think for sure, just with the type of language that Tolkien had at his command and the vocabulary, that this is older. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Howard's very much like Edgar Rice Burroughs in that regard, where like you go back and you read ERB and you just feel like this doesn't feel 115 years old. You know, this feels like this could have been written like the 50s or 60s, maybe.
Yeah.
It's just the grasp on the language that they had. And they knew how to connect to the readers and not speaking ye old time Shakespearean, so it worked out.
That's always a dilemma, I think, for a fantasy writer, because if you lean too hard into that archaic language, it's gonna get probably dated. Whereas I feel like a modern writer who probably will still be very accessible in later years, who does it really well, is George R.R. Martin. I feel like he's going to be like Robert Howard, very readable in 100 years.
Yeah,
is it going to be done in 100 years? Or
maybe.
I thought this was his 100th year.
I couldn't miss that. That was a layup.
It was a layup.
So can I talk about something I didn't like? Look, Robert.
Yeah.
One of my 10 favorite authors of all time. I think he's amazing, obviously. So this is criticism that's something of, I think we kind of talked about before we started recording here, that this was kind of fantasy at the time, is you had to go out of your way to kind of make the names just sound completely foreign. And my problem with like this book and a lot of his books is so many of the names sound exactly the same. It's like it's like the Aes Sedai names in a Robert Jordan book. It's just like that looks exactly like the other person you just said. And I don't know who's who. So outside of Zenobia and Zaltoten, I can't remember a ton of these people's names, and I just read it like a month ago. So
I mean, I wrote some down.
A lot of you guys agreed. A lot of those names.
I couldn't remember them.
I agree.
That's why I wrote them down, because I had the same thought that Mike did. Valerius, Amalric, Zaltoten, and some of the other ones that you mentioned. But I think
a lot of that too is the because the characters are outside of Conan, they're really flat characters. They're not really. They don't have a lot of individual
130 pages. You're not really developing any of those guys.
That's a part of the issue for me is remembering which wizard dude are you now, and or which sidekick warrior.
Yeah. I almost wonder, like back in the day then too, if you're going to be a genre author, if that's almost like a prerequisite where you have to have these fantastical names. Yeah, Tom the Elf and George, exactly. But that is a prerequisite that you have these names that are just so out of nowhere that it's like I said, like you almost have to have a prerequisite. I don't know. Nowadays, you don't see that much. I mean, even in Phillips' books, Day Raven is a name that
that sticks with you.
It sticks
That's
with
very Wolfian.
Yeah,
it comes from Beowulf.
Yeah,
exactly.
All right, 47-47 on the dot.
If you guys had if you had the parlay of 47-47 and 12 minutes 30 seconds. Right below in the comments, you may be entitled.
You can go the Ken Follett route and just whatever the profession is, like Tom Builder. I wonder what it is he does. That's a good way you can do these things. But I'm with that though. Like you will have a bunch of crazy names. Then Steve, here's Steve.
I think. I mean, I'll go a little bit deeper. And like Mike said, I read a lot of Solomon Kane when I was in high school. Enjoyed the heck out of it. This was pulpy fun. Enjoyed the heck out of this. But I think this is the only full-length novel, and I think it is like under 200 pages or something, depending on the copy you grab.
Mine was like 160, but
yeah. I don't think like you're gonna, for me anyway, some of these names aren't gonna stick with you because you're not spending enough time with that character. You're not. Who is that? Oh,
that might be a me thing. I think it's because when I first got into A Song of Ice and Fire, I mean, that was like the first series I'd read that size, and I was like, dude, there's so many characters, and I started being like, okay, if he doesn't mention them like 3 times, I'm not going to remember their name. That was how I was able to process it when I was reading that. And I think I've just kind of, with this, it's like if they're important, I feel like he's going to make sure that I know their name.
Sure. So But I do think a lot of that
These
is
are the bad guys. These are the good guys. That's what I was doing.
A lot of it for me was just these characters are really not that distinctive.
Yeah, that's it.
So you got to make a name.
Therefore the name just slides away.
Here's the evil wizard. Here's the pretty girl that likes him. Here's the and
it's like Conan. Let's not overcomplicate it here, guys.
I get it. I get it.
That's it.
But it's funny because the one name that we would all remember, even if he wasn't the main character, is Conan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even if he was a flat side, we'd still remember Conan. Which, by the way, Andy Richter got no page time. Not cool. Take that up with the author.
Someone mentioned that Khal Drogo from Song of Ice and Fire was a Conan archetype, which is funny because then Jason Momoa then went on to play Conan.
So, true.
Man, that movie was such a letdown.
Did he do Conan first or Drogo?
No, it was second.
He was cast already before Game of Thrones came out, and then when people saw him on there, people were like, "Oh, he's too small to be playing Conan." And they saw him on Game of Thrones, like, "Oh, this could be really good." That script was just dog shit.
Yeah.
So, but nothing he could have done. It's just sad. Just sad. They'll never get Conan right on screen.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, the Arnold movies are.
I like the Arnold movie. It's not quite a perfect representation of Conan, but I think visually, it's hard to imagine anyone else really.
Yeah. At this point,
I tried to name my kid Conan. My wife wasn't having it.
Wouldn't go for it.
Yeah.
Why not?
Bummer.
I tried everything, man. I tried, Aragorn, all kinds of stuff. She was not having any of it. So
damn.
She's unoriginal. John Tron, she wasn't going for any of these names.
John Tron.
If my kid was born right when Tron Legacy came out, man, I was so hyped for that movie. Yeah.
It's a good thing I know you're jesting.
Jesus.
Yeah. I had a hard enough time with him being Paul Atreides, honestly. But
whoa, he's a good Paul.
He did a great job.
He did, but honestly, I felt like at the beginning parts he was perfect, but later when Paul was supposed to be more mature, it was like looking at a little kid trying to act like a man. So, sorry.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
At the movies with Dr. Philip Chase.
Yeah, hot takes coming.
See, this is why I
like the movie, though.
I got to rethink telling Philip to watch these movies or these things that we read.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's a very tough critic. So
that's okay. It's the jacket. It's the tweet.
Okay, talk to Christopher, and he will just drag Dune and Dune Part 2 for an hour, and it's just like, okay, all right. Do you like anything, Christopher? Not very much. Okay. Anyway,
wait, so we actually have a question. Is this what is this opening line? Wait, what part is that from? I'm not remembering that. No, O Prince, that between when the oceans drank Atlantis. So is this obviously a reference to the lost land of Atlantis?
The prehistory.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool line. I mean, I like the fact that Atlantis exists in that Tronathon. I like I don't know what that is. Oh my
god. But yeah, I mean, you got to have cool names. You got to have the cool names. But
well, I mean, I think this type of story requires it. So
yeah, it's just it's part of the pulpy nature of it, I feel. And you just go with it. But I don't feel like the characters are terribly memorable, other than Conan. Maybe that old witch lady. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd probably come close to
me. But then what was her name? What was her character name?
I can't remember anybody's name.
And
there you go.
It's because she had the wolf too.
She did have the wolf. Yeah.
I do remember what's her name though. Akivasha. Yeah.
There you go.
Don't ask me why.
Off
cool
stream.
Name.
Yeah. That's so fun.
In the period when
would you guys read Robert E. Howard again? That is the question. Would you read more? Even if it's not just Conan. Like myself, I need to read Solomon Kane. I mean, this is one of my favorite authors ever. I've never read Solomon Kane, which some people say they like better than Conan.
I've only read this one, Conan, but at this point, I would say I like it better.
I do have this.
Yeah, I have Cole also, yeah.
Which maybe that was the reference for the Atlantis.
Yeah.
John, which one did you say you liked better?
Solomon Kane.
Solomon Kane. Yeah, I would absolutely read this again, especially given what I'm reading right now. But we were talking about all these characters before, and the Dramatis Personae page is like bookmarked on every Malazan book that I'm reading now, because forget it. I can't remember, 50 characters and what continents they're from and whether they're in this book or the book 4 books ago. So yeah, I'd for sure read this guy again. I like simple.
Now, no one's forgetting that name.
No Prince Standing Hammer.
And I think it might be because him and H.P. Lovecraft and pals. Howard did write some horror stories too.
Yeah,
so
he did.
I feel like I should definitely dip into some of those. So
Huh.
that's the perils of running a booktube channel. Is you get 8 bazillion recommendations.
Yeah.
Then you get the FOMO and all these things, and so it gets hard to read everything.
So was this author like Christopher Rocchio age when he started writing all this stuff? Because if he died at 30 or something like that,
Yeah.
I mean, he had to have started very early.
I think his output was like crazy. Like
Yeah.
every time he sat down, he was cranking out a story.
Yeah, he was quite young. There's a great movie about him.
Yeah, there is. Vincent D'Onofrio plays him. It's excellent.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
the wife
really
knew nothing
great.
about it. And there's a line he says in that movie. He says, "Hey, girl, check out that sunset I just ordered for you." And to this day, my wife talks about that line. She's like, "Wow, he should have been a writer with a phrase like that." So yeah, very good movie. It's sad.
Cool.
Very,
It
very
is sad, but it's a great flick.
I love Vincent. I'll watch that for Vincent.
Yeah, he's so
played
good.
him well.
Huh. But McScarfield would know because he actually lives in Asgard or Norway. Close enough, right?
He might be an Asgardian. We don't
Yeah.
know. He's read so much. He could be several hundred years old.
Mhm.
Then again, Philip's a Highlander, so who might I say?
There can be only one.
Yeah.
There can be only one. So apparently there's one Lovecraftian Hyborian story and one Howard Lovecraftian creature, the Yog.
Yogs, like off. Yeah.
Yog. Okay. All right.
Mhm. The old ones are mentioned in the first Conan story. There you go.
Huh. Okay.
They were
Were
like they were like Tolkien and C.S. Lewis before, Tolkien.
Yeah.
And C.S. Lewis.
Yeah.
Were they like
They never actually met.
geographically close to
They
each
were
other?
they were both
no,
such a big hit for Weird Tales that they
one
just,
was Yeah, one was Rhode Island and one was Marfa, Texas. But
Oh, okay.
Lovecraft was, as many stories as he wrote tons more letters.
Yeah, I got that at the Mountains of Madness. It's a thing showing like his notes and all that, and it has several of the letters that where he had asked Robert E. Howard some feedback on some stuff. It's got several letters between them in there. It's really, really cool.
Interesting.
So there's letters out there. They work, they're pitching stuff back and forth, working together, and
See, everybody's like, "Oh, Endgame was the greatest crossover event ever." I'm like, "Bro, Universal Monsters and all these Robert E. Howard stories. Come on now."
Conan.
It's true. It's
was
true.
a Texan.
Yeah, of course he meant Howard, but yeah. It would have been cool if
Conan
Conan
might have been too. You don't know. Look at that
Yeah, you
map.
don't
Harder.
know.
Squint. You might see Galveston Bay in there somewhere. I mean,
Scenario.
he's a Texan after all. He was going to write it in his world somewhere.
Conan's
Marco,
last
Absolutely true. That's true, John. Absolutely. Kilts are indeed.
Conan's
product.
last stand at the Alamo. I want to see that.
No,
Except
who
except Texas wins this time.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Conan's there.
Because
That would actually be a really-
Conan's as big as the Alamo.
I think it's better if they lose, though. Honestly, it's a more grimdark kind of story,
Yeah.
But that would actually work.
Tell that to the family of Davy Crockett, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I recall, he was the king of the wild frontier.
We go there about every other year.
If I recall the song.
Huh. Yeah. Here we go. It's a fact now.
Traded the Mexican
As
army.
Rick Thunder would say, that's a
Yeah.
fact.
And
That's
that's
a
a
fact.
fact.
Yeah.
Under his sandaled feet. Fair
Galveston
enough.
becomes Atlantis about once a year. It
Yeah,
really
that is true.
once a year. There's a hurricane. Well, it's time to move inland for a while. Yeah.
Oh, look at this. Okay. See, there is a 2-book collection of Howard
Yeah.
Lovecraft letters. Yeah.
Yeah. Lovecraft wrote the list is long.
Yeah. See, Howard actually went outside. Lovecraft did not.
Yeah, no,
He was
Lovecraft.
paranoid. He was scared of everything. So he just stayed inside. Clack, 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 clack. Yeah.
Not a
Wow.
well man at all.
Sounds like a haunted individual.
Are
in
these
many ways.
are these
He
typewritten
might have
letters
wrote
or
some scary
handwritten?
stories in there, Philip. He might have got
Yeah.
those scary thoughts out. He might have
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Are these handwritten letters?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I only
don't.
have Tolkien letters.
I don't. I honestly don't know when the typewriter was, standardized in terms of which decade. I don't know. Was the 40s, maybe 30s? I don't.
They were around, definitely.
Yeah. Interesting. Handwritten. I never got a letter from Robert E. Howard. Sucks.
Yeah, I missed him by about 80 years. I know.
Yes. Exactly.
Damn.
Unfortunately.
Well, I don't know if any. I'm having a very pulpy month because I'm reading this right now. Have any of you guys read this?
December. You like it? Because everybody tells me that as much as I like Howard, that I'd like this.
Dude, this is so much fun. I mean, this is it's modern story sensibility. It's episodic. Like it has that story after story after story feel, but it's all building and linking up and becoming something larger. I mean, this is really pulpy, amazing.
It's so sad that right when that was taken off, he passed away.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Brutal, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know anybody who's read that and not enjoyed it. I've not seen anybody cut that book down.
Yeah, specifically in my Conan videos, people talk about those books. So.
Yeah, I think you're going to really like it, Mike. I really do.
Well, if I get through these 8 books in November, December, they're like 1,200 pages a piece. Oh. Maybe I'll get to it before the end of the year. You know? So.
Well, we're sort of winding down soon, I think, but I think we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the big battle at the end here.
Yes,
right? Where you do have the one pretty cool move where they draw in the large contingent of the enemy forces through and surround them in the fog and then do them in there. And I thought that was a pretty cool move. And then you have the Conan's forces. Yeah, you get some battle strategy. Conan's not just charge at him. There's some real strategy there. Of course, he did have a lot of help.
And you get that from the beginning where the guy was impersonating him, and Conan was in the tent going, "No, don't charge in, don't," because he could, he could see it.
He knew, he saw. This is too easy. Don't do that.
Yeah. Yep.
But they do win through cleverness and strategy. It's not just brawn. They out maneuver, and their enemies are their arrogance is their downfall.
And he do some infiltration too. Just kill the guy, take it, because this guy's massive, so I'm sure he's going to kill a priest that just happens to have the same size robes as him. I was like, well, I guess sometimes robes can be very, very bulky.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Actually, take that. I think that was borrowed in the Conan movie with Arnold. Is that he does that? Kills the priest and takes his robes.
God, I don't even remember. It's been so long, but
you do it again. What are you doing? I know you missed the layup line.
We need a rewatch. Yeah,
but don't watch the second movie. It's really bad.
The Destroyer. Is that the one with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in it?
Yes. Yeah. So basically, the first one was R-rated and it was amazing, and it was a pretty good depiction of Arnold, of Conan. And then the second one, like, oh, let's try to get the kid money. Let's make it PG now. Like, what?
Yeah.
So you think about like all the time, like Rambo movies, those were inappropriate for kids. And what do you see in the store? You saw all kinds of Rambo toys and shit. Yeah. So they thought the same thing. Oh, well, we can sell some Conan toys because look at the numbers that He-Man does. How many toys He-Man sells. So they said, let's try to see if we can get that market. That's why they decided to make the sequel PG.
I mean, He-Man is already the kiddie version of Conan.
Oh, He-Man is just Conan with lasers, man. That's all it is. And that's why I actually think that's why I like Conan, because maybe that He-Man from my childhood was still in there, So yeah,
he's blonde Conan. I love that. I never thought of that, but that makes sense.
Oh, it's absolutely Conan with lasers. Yeah.
Very cool. No, I do like the battle strategy, Philip. I think that
it just looked like Skeletor, honestly.
It gave us a little bit more than I was expecting, which was just going to be this one-on-one fight, and then that's it. I did like how they culminated the story in everything, and all the people that he got riled up along the way that realized that the true king is still alive, and they're all going to follow him and support him. And I think it speaks a little bit to the fact that they all loved this guy prior to him apparently dying, because I never knew that about, and again, I haven't read this stuff, but I wouldn't have known that Conan was this beloved ruler at all. I thought it was this just tough-ass barbarian that went around killing crap. So
he said he would have made the King Conan movie for free. He just wanted to get that movie made. It's such a shame it didn't happen.
That would have been I don't think he's too old now. I buy a ticket. I go see that.
Yeah. Get to the chopper.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, they could have the guy who plays Reacher do it. He's big enough.
He is big enough.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
Very
well,
cool.
guys, any final thoughts for Conan the Conqueror, or
just great pick, Philip. Great pick.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, perfect pick for this group. Everybody, you nailed it that everybody was going to like this. And you called it. You said, I bet you everybody's going to like this. And like, speaking personally, the fact that I could put this in right between Malazan and Wars of Light and Shadow, it was like a blessing from heaven. So thank you for the literary mana from the gods, because I needed it, no doubt. To
Great pick. And now Brian's made his pick, and now guess who's coming next?
Oh God!
Well, you know, right now I might be the John of this year, because I felt like the Tim Powers book was kind of meh.
I like that,
and Brian really didn't like it. So
I like
so far.
Philip, I knew you'd love it. Give
me
the
Conan.
whole point of that was to get Philip to read something horror-ish. And I said, well, this one's got all these poets, and of course he'll read that. Yeah.
That trend might continue. I might have to do something horror-ish.
Horror.
You know.
Okay. All right. We are moving around in the genres here at Quilluminati. That's for sure.
And you know, like I've said this before when we talked about Stress of Fear Regard. A lot of the time, a book isn't sold to me as horror, or I wouldn't have read it. But one of my favorite books of all time is Swan Song, and that's absolutely horror. And had I been sold on this is a horror book, I'd have never read it. So I'm open to whatever. It's when it's John's pick, we will read it, we will laugh, we will we will ban him for another year.
What is the worst book you guys have ever read, so I can keep my title is like
Reddit's top 100 book worst.
I'm gonna run so many titles by. Okay, like let's all pick. I do not want to be under the gun.
Nah.
I think we're all secretly hoping you pick a real stinker. Just
Yeah, I'm well aware.
Yeah. I mean, retain your title. Embrace the villain role. Embrace it.
Because at that point, there
you go.
Oh God!
There's the next book. There's the next book.
I
quit. You're gonna have to elect the new Grand Poobah. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, definitely not the magician.
I gotta wonder about Quilluminati as a whole. Do we have a lot of silent readers? Because I feel like no one is ever reading the books that we plan to read. But now I hear all these other booktubers saying like they got to start their own version of Quilluminati. So we got a lot of silent readers, people who don't speak up.
I think we have readers that if the book appeals to them or was on their maybe TBR, it's their excuse to maybe go pick it up. If it's something like
Mystic River, they gushed about it so bad they had to go read it. Yeah.
There you go.
I did notice. Now I don't know if it's a coincidence or not, but I did notice a lot of people were reading Conan in the last couple. Months.
Yeah, and I think the Last Kingdom was a big hit too.
I think Conan's so short, it was not a very big commitment for people. I mean, not everybody's going to just throw on a 500-600 page book. So I get that for sure.
Yeah,
I still need to do Elric.
Yeah. My whole thought with Quilluminati in the first place was for us. Like, if anybody wants to read along with us, phenomenal. If it's just the four of us reading it, then awesome as well. Because
we'll just sit here and chat too. We'll enjoy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying, Brian, people are stealing your idea. You should have patented it.
You should trademark, Brian.
Stealing your idea.
Hey, you know what? If it works for them, great. But as we know, longevity tends to win out. So we'll see if anybody outlasts what we're doing. I doubt it. So especially because we've got a couple of guys.
We might die before they do. So
that's true.
Just trying to end the stream on a positive note.
But something you guys have seen, and I was actually talking to my friend Sylvia about today, was that Mike and Philip are in a different kind of spot than John and I is, because you guys 5 years ago knew booktubers that were booktubing for a couple of years and then they just vanished off the face of the earth. And
hey, Mark, you still in the comments, buddy?
Yeah, exactly. But John and I haven't really totally experienced that until kind of right around now, where some of the people that kind of got started around when we did haven't put a video out in 8 months, 10 months, a year, whatever. So, I think we'll last the test of time. I think at this point, if we're doing it, we're doing it.
That's just because we're stubborn, Brian.
Oh, I'm ridiculously stubborn.
Stuck in our ways.
I will
Stuck
beat
in our
this.
way.
I
In a
will beat
rut.
this. I will beat this concept into a wall. Mike and Philip and John could be AI by the time I'm done with this thing.
Ordinary Grace. That was my pick, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
that's a great book.
I need to read
That was
more
a great
William
book.
Kent Kruger. I think I'd pick one of his books. Got that this Tender Land I have. That'd be a good pick, I think.
So there's a
I don't know. I'm not trying to like leapfrog anybody or nothing like that. I'm just saying.
no,
I'm thinking
but there's
about my
Feel free.
Wait, are you suggesting we skip John again?
John's like, yes, please do it.
Because I'd be all right with that.
No.
Low
pressure
for me.
Was that my pick or not? Yeah. See, Brian ruined everything because if I got to do my end of the year video and say my favorite book of the year was a book that he picked for Quilluminati. Do you know how big? Do you know how much more inflated his ego will be? I mean, he won't fit him on the screen. You have to make you have to make our picture sizes this big and make Brian's like.
I have to be gigantic on that
just to get his big brain in there.
You know, it's funny because we've got obviously William Kent Kruger's from here, and we've got this brand new Barnes and Noble that opened 2 weeks ago, 3 minutes from my house, and I walk in there and there's a giant table of William Kent Kruger stuff. Just like a dinner platter size, everything that the guy's ever written. So he's huge up here. I'd be down for reading him again anytime. I love that book. And the further away I get from Ordinary Grace, the more I like it. Same with Mystic River. The further away I get from it, the more I like it, because the depression feeling of all the lousy events that happen in that book has largely diminished. And I just remember the super high quality of the book itself. And actually, similarly to the Stress of Her Regard, the further I get away from it, the less I dislike it, because
I still got problems. I got problems with it.
Well, I have problems, but not the visceral. I really didn't like this book. The comment that I made earlier when we did that stream was that I can say without a doubt it's an exceptionally well written book, and that thought has stuck with me more than the stuff in the book that I didn't care for. So
for me, I want to compare. You compare the two, and I think it's a really good comparison: Ordinary Grace and Mystic River. But both incredibly traumatic and depressing. Yeah. But I would have to say that Ordinary Grace left me with a feeling of beauty as well. It left me with a sense of elevation. Like there's something transcendent about that book. Whereas Mystic River just left me feeling really dark.
Yeah, really sad. Yeah.
No.
Tragic.
Yeah. Ordinary Grace is there's meaning beyond us. There's something beyond us. Mystic River is like, no, there's us and we're bastards.
Yeah.
Very effectively put across.
Yeah. And as genre readers, how many times is it that the bad guys kind of win or the bad guys don't lose? Doesn't happen very much in the stuff that we read. So that could be a piece of it as well, is that it's just very jarring to know that, hey, this is not resolved. This is I don't
really
know.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what these Bosch books are like, or at least this one Bosch book, because I suspect it. I don't know for sure, but I align with Josh's taste quite a bit on a lot of stuff. And now that I know how much he loves Dresden, and that Realm of the Elderlings is a top series for him, as well as Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, I have to think he knows something about this. Yeah. R. Scott Baker, forget it. After I get done with Malazan and Wars of Light and Shadow, I'm reading nothing more than 300 pages for 6 years. That's it.
D-spot run. Yeah.
That's it. I'm going straight children's literature.
Why do you think I started adding in some YA series? Because sometimes the brain's got to reset, guys. It's got to reset.
I have told the Hounds coming up in 2 weeks. So
you really are going to pass me. This is incredible.
I'm gonna lap Mike. Yep.
Amazing.
I started with a 3 or 4. It gave him a 3 or 4 year head start, I think. Unbelievable.
It's not a sprint, baby. It's a marathon.
Yeah, there
you go.
But you know what?
For me too, EJ. The books.
Yeah, that's why when they first asked me at first, I was like, I don't know if I can fit something else. But I said, you know what? This is a good idea, because I think I always have a hard time convincing myself, well, if I talk about this book that isn't really sci-fi or fantasy, none of my viewers are really going to be interested in hearing me talk about it. But I said, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, none of this was designed with like channel growth in mind or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's for guys that have had somewhat similar life experiences, being Gen Xers and going, okay, let's read shit that we normally don't read.
Okay, boomer.
Right.
I'm not a boomer. Although I bet you it's funny because I bet you your kids probably refer to our age as boomers.
As
Oh,
boomers,
yeah. They tried to do that already, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's your grandma.
That's
buddy.
right.
Yeah.
Right,
Thanks.
right. But they don't care. For them, anything over 30 is a boomer now.
Oh, my
Yeah.
kids
Oh my
can't say
God.
anything besides skibbity and 6'7" or some shit now. And it's just like, oh my God, shut up. Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
You see, Jacob's too old already for that. So
I
you,
know,
you missed out on that. Yeah.
you lucked out. You lucked out.
Cool.
Well,
All right, guys.
I love it.
Well,
Thank you so much.
I think we're calling it for the night. Thank you to everybody in the chat. By the way, I do have a playlist of all the Quilluminati discussions. So if you ever want to go back and see what we said about some of these other books, go ahead and do it. But we're going to be meeting again in December to read. What's the book again, Brian?
It is called The Last Coyote, and we will be on BellTube for that one.
On BellTube in December. Be there or be square.
Yes.
I am Zautoten. Ha 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 ha.